Good morning. Oh, okay. Okay. No, tell me when. Now? Oh, okay. Just waiting for one more person. Okay. That's okay. Good, good, good. How was your holiday? Good. It was nice, really nice. There we go. Ready? Speaker. Good morning. Ready. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. I would like to welcome you all to Hopewell Township at the crossroads of the American Revolution and therefore of American history. Our state and our local community here in Hopewell has a great storied history of facing and overcoming enormous challenges. As you know, we are standing right where George Washington and his troops landed when they crossed the Delaware River on the way to the Battle of Trenton. These brave Americans faced inadequate supplies, a cold, unforgiving winter, and a deadly enemy. But they got in their watery boats and faced the challenge with bravery, a commitment to each other, and to our uniquely American ideals. We all have faced extraordinarily difficult challenges over the past several years, but let this site be a reminder to all of us that as Americans and as New Jerseyans, we are up for any challenge. Thank you to Governor Murphy for being here today and for recognizing the critical nature of preserving our history so the next generation can fully appreciate what we've been through and what we've accomplished. And that leads to an understanding that they too can face and overcome any challenge with togetherness, idealism, and bravery. And with that, I'll pass it over to Governor Murphy.
Thank you, Mayor. Thanks, Courtney. Thank you. What a treat to be here this morning. It is a place that I've wanted to come on many occasions, and I'm ashamed to say this is my first time here, but it won't be my last. Again, Mayor Courtney Peters Manning, thank you so much for kicking things off and for your leadership of Hopewell Township. Incredibly honored to be joined by several luminaries today, including, among others, the Speaker of the General Assembly, great leader Craig Coughlin, Assemblyman, his colleague in the Assembly, Anthony Varelli. Anthony, great to have you with us. Our Secretary of State, Tahisha Way, is in the House. Bless you. Commissioner of the Department of Environmental Protection, Sean LaTourette. We are in Mercer County, and with the great county executive with us, County Executive Brian Hughes. Brian, always an honor. We also have Carrie Fellows, who we're going to hear from, Executive Director of the Crossroads of the American Revolution Association. Carrie, honored. And we will have in a few minutes the outstanding Congresswoman representing the 12th District, Bonnie Watson Coleman. So when she comes in, we'll give her another round of applause. I said to the gentleman who greeted me, I apologize for not wearing the tri-corner hat that I have in my closet, so forgive me for that. So, as they say, every good party needs planning. And when that party is going to celebrate the 250th birthday of our nation, we need to start that planning a little sooner. By the way, may we also start that planning by beating Iran at 2 o'clock this afternoon in the World Cup. Had to get that off my chest. Today we are here not only to root for the USA this afternoon, but to underscore the importance of the investment of $25 million in federal American Rescue Plan funds through our state budget. And again, I want to thank the Speaker and Anthony and their colleagues profusely. And that $25 million will be invested in 10 Revolutionary War sites across our state to not only help restore them, but to make them ready for future visitors, including, by the way, making them all ADA compliant. Before I go through the list of 10 sites, I want to also say that this is not the last money. I know the Speaker and the Assemblyman will join me in that respect. we want to make sure that New Jersey has its rightful place, which I'll get into a few moments as we commemorate and celebrate the 250th anniversary of our great nation. So the 10 sites, if you could bear with me, one right here at Washington's Crossing. 2 of them are in Trenton, the Old Barracks and the Battle Monument, Princeton Battlefield State Park, Monmouth Battlefield State Park, Proprietary House in Perth Amboy, which I believe is part of your district, Craig, the seat of the colonial government under Royal Governor William Franklin, Haddonfield's Indian King Tavern, where our newly independent legislature drafted and passed our first state laws, Somerville's Wallace House, which was General George Washington's headquarters in the winter of 1778 and into the late spring of 1779, Boxwood Hall in Elizabeth, the home of Elias Boudinot, who was serving as president of the Confederation Congress when the Treaty of Paris ended the war in September 1783. Sean and Tahisha will agree with me that it's too bad Joe Fiordaliso is not with us, because Joe was there at that time. I hope Joe's watching. And Rockingham in Kingston, where George Washington was staying when he received word of the Treaty of Paris and where he penned his famous letter resigning his command. So those are 10 extraordinary sites that we proudly call home in New Jersey. So through Revolution NJ and led in partnership with the New Jersey Historical Commission and Crossroads of the American Revolution, we're going to make our state's unique history come alive in time for July 4th, 2026. By the way, I might add, tying this back to the World Cup game today, we will be hosting the World Cup at that very time. We'll have, my guess is, 7 or 8 games in New Jersey right in and around that time. So, heritage tourism is an important and growing part of our tourism economy. Over the past several decades, we've come to recognize that bulldozing our past is really no way to move into our collective future. If we can't recognize where we came from, we really won't be able to know where we're going. And right now, when it seems our nation is at an interminable partisan stalemate, it is our time to fully embrace our state's important role in our nation's birth and upbringing. Because without New Jersey, and especially without this very ground on which we stand, as Courtney referenced, there may not be a United States of America. So a quick history lesson. Not 6 months after the signing of the Declaration of Independence, the American cause, in many respects, appeared all but lost. Routed in Brooklyn and New York, General Washington and his troops retreated across New Jersey, eventually able to put the Delaware River between his army and the enemy. Enlistments were coming due. The army was short of supplies. Rivals among the generals actively plotted Washington's replacement as commander-in-chief. Washington knew a bold, and some would say crazy, action was needed to save the revolution. I might add, if there's one place where both bold and crazy are in our DNA, it's New Jersey. It was here where throughout Christmas night and into the early morning of December 26, 1776, Washington and his roughly 2,400 men, who, by the way, were ill-fed, ill-clothed, and in many cases ill-suited for combat, landed after a daring river crossing made worse by a driving sleet storm. Already exhausted, from here they marched, as Courtney also alluded to, downriver to Trenton, where in the early daylight they took the Hessian garrison by surprise, routing the German mercenaries. It was the first American victory in months. The supplies at the garrison were enough to restock empty American food and ammunition stores and to clothe an army clad in rags. Over the next 10 days, buoyed by his victory at Trenton, Washington would continue his campaign, a second Battle of Trenton, and then the Battle of Princeton, before marching north with his men to encamp in Morristown for the remainder of the winter. And it was at the Battle of Princeton where General Hugh Mercer, one of George Washington's closest comrades, was fatally bayoneted by British troops. And as Brian knows better than the rest of us, this county, Mercer County, is named for him. The American Revolution, so close to total and complete collapse, was saved. And it was New Jersey where it was saved. But there is so much more to our revolutionary history. In fact, our history is all around us. I'm not sure if anyone's counted, but there are probably more George Washington slept here signs in New Jersey than anywhere this side of Mount Vernon. This is, after all, the state where more revolutionary battles and skirmishes were fought than anywhere else. And may I add a point of personal observation here. We have not punched at our weight, and I will commit to you, as long as I'm governor, we're going to punch at our weight in terms of telling the story of the importance of New Jersey in the tale of the American Revolution. I was born in Massachusetts, which gets me no votes in New Jersey, but they have done historically a really good job of promoting their story. We're here to say, all of us, the speaker, the county executive, all of us are here to say that will know, with all due respect to Massachusetts, New Jersey will punch at its weight, and we will tell our story loud and proud over the next several years. So this history, among other places, and I see Derek Roseman, a proud resident of Lambertville in the back, and my colleague, this history is found in a stone farmhouse in Lambertville, a house, by the way, which still stands, that Washington made his headquarters before his march with his troops across New Jersey to the Battle of Monmouth. And Lambertville, it should be noted, is where right in downtown you can also find the resting place of Samuel Holcomb, one of General Washington's spies, alongside that of Lieutenant George Coryell, the last surviving of George Washington's pallbearers. And it's at this site, or rather it is also at the site of the Battle of Red Bank in Gloucester County, the true toll of which is only just now beginning to come to light through archaeological research. It's in Burlington City, where the provincial Congress, driven from Elizabeth, hurriedly wrote a new constitution for a new state of New Jersey in July of 1776. Our history is also found at the Sussex County Courthouse in Newton, which loyalist James Moody and his band of followers raided to free imprisoned fellow pro-British New Jerseyans. All across our state, in every county, is a house, a field, or a public building that points directly to our revolutionary history. This is the history that we must keep alive as our country nears its 250th birthday. And it is this history which this investment aims to preserve and protect. So John Adams famously wrote to his wife Abigail, and I quote the president, "Posterity, you will never know how much it cost the present generation to persevere your freedom. I hope you will make a good use of it, to preserve, your freedom." Our task is to make good use of this investment, and for this present generation to preserve not only the sites which played such a role in our nation's war for freedom, but the sites which will always be our reminders of the great cost at which our freedom came. This is what we can do for posterity. So again, thank you all so much to each and every one of you. Patrick, are you here? Patrick Murray is here, who's I want to give him a shout out, who's been rightfully pounding away on our team to make sure that we stand up and be loud and proud about this. But to each and every one of you, thank you for being here, and thank you for hosting us so graciously. I hope that many of you will return here on December 11th, shameless promotion here, when Washington Crossing State Park will honor its role in our fight for independence, and then again, not surprisingly, on Christmas Day for the reenactment of Washington's crossing. With that, Tahisha, I think we're going to go to you if it's okay. Please help me welcome our fabulous Secretary of State, Tahisha Way.
Good morning, all, and thank you, Governor. the governor is passionate about history, and a secret is out. When I was going through the nomination process, he asked me, can you pronounce semi-quincentennial? And that took me over the top in becoming Secretary of State. Yes. And as Secretary of State, I am so honored to lead a department that includes the New Jersey Historical Commission. Since 2019, the Commission and our phenomenal partners at Crossroads have been collaborating on Revolution in J, because revolutionary history isn't just American history. It is specifically New Jersey's history. As folk know, and as our great governor has just stated, our state is home to more Revolutionary War military engagements than any other state, and this history is more than just the battles. It's about the rich stories of our people. So, we are forever grateful that the governor and the legislature has made this historic investment in New Jersey's history. Yes, these 10 state-owned sites are centuries old, and this funding will help ensure that everyone today, tomorrow, and hopefully for centuries to come will be able to engage with the stories these locations help us tell. Moreover, as we move towards 2026, the Historical Commission and Revolution in J and the partners are working to tell a diverse and inclusive story about America's past. We are also supporting New Jersey's historical organizations as they attract and serve our visitors, promoting heritage tourism, which will continue to contribute to the economic and community vitality of this state. At the same time, we are eager for Revolution in J to help elevate the value of history education in our schools across New Jersey's partners, from kindergartners to adults. Our colleague, Sean Laura Tourette, for their work in preserving these important locations. And finally, again, Governor Murphy, you rock, and we thank you for making this unprecedented investment together. We will help New Jersey's residents and visitors explore our state's central role in the Revolutionary War and the founding of our great nation. Onward to 2026. Thank you.
Tahisha, thank you. Go Giants. Sarah, would you mind standing up and taking a bow? Sarah Curitan, who Tahisha just referred to. Thank you for everything. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So I appreciate the good words in my direction, but it does take a village. It takes a great cabinet, and we've got two great members here. It takes great organizations, such as the one that is hosting us today, but it certainly takes legislative colleagues and leaders, and there's no better leader than our speaker. Please help me welcome the Assembly Speaker, Craig Coughlin.
Thank you, Governor. Thanks, everybody. Thank you, Governor, and thank you, everybody, to be here. Mayor, a pleasure to be in your community. County Executive, my friend and colleague, Anthony Varelli, Commissioner and Secretary. It's great to be with all of you, and to all of you who are here today. This is really an exciting announcement. At a meeting with the tourism officials held last year at the Proprietary House in Perth Amboy, I was told that 6% of New Jersey's tourism dollars are generated from heritage tourism, amounting to a little over $400 million in state and local revenue and about $3 billion in economic impact. That's real money, and it's something we should be reinvesting in the assets who produce that. And this is a day to celebrate doing just that. You know, as the governor has talked about, as we all know, and many of you who are so involved, including reenactors and others, will be able to tell us, New Jersey is incredibly historic, and our role in the Revolutionary War is second to none, but often overlooked, even for New Jerseyans, right? The battles of Princeton and Trenton are single-handedly re-energized the fighting efforts of the men and women involved in that fight. And while other states probably do a better job than we have in the past, and I'm confident, like the governor, that we're going to change that, other states may have done, but nobody is second. We stand second to no one in our significance and our role in the success of the American Revolution. Let's think about it. Washington literally could not have won the war against the British without New Jersey. The winter in Morristown was actually more harsh than Valley Forge. Our friends at Crossroads, who are history buffs, and they said the reenactors who are here today will be the first to tell you, and I've had the chance to talk to Patrick and others about this incredible effort to make sure that we reinvest in the New Jersey history and continue to take advantage. So in 2026, America's 250th opportunity it gives us an opportunity to educate the folks in New Jersey and to the rest of the country and I dare say the world when they're showing up to go to the soccer matches. Let's talk about what maybe the British won't want to come. Maybe we'll give them free passes and they'll feel obligated to go on some of those, to see those 10 historical sites. But this $25 million investment as we start off that process is really just part of a process to recapture our rightful place in American history. I'm going to take a point of personal privilege and talk about one of the places, as the governor alluded, the Proprietary House is located right in Perth Amboy, which happens to be part of the district, happens to be the town I was born in, although that holds no significant historical interest. It is a remarkably historic place. Just a couple of quick facts about Perth Amboy. The first African American in the country voted in Perth Amboy. The oldest continuous operating municipal building in the country is in Perth Amboy. And of course, the Proprietary House, which is such a real gem. We started back in 2018 with about $3 million in restoring the outside of the building, which was long neglected and underutilized. And this additional $3 million will restore the inner workings to glory. And if you want to do something really cool on the 4th of July, each state in the United States gets a replica of the Liberty Bell. Ours sits in New Jersey. Sits in Perth Amboy. And, of course, Proprietary House isn't far away. And as most of you know, Franklin's son was arrested and transported to Connecticut from there. So we don't march quite as far, but on the 4th of July, there's a reenactment of the arrest of Royal Colonial Governor Franklin, and then a parade as patriots down to the city circle where the bell is rung, the Liberty Bell, our replica of the Liberty Bell is rung at 2 o'clock as it's required to be done statutorily. And we read the Declaration of Independence. So the march is a little shorter now because many of the reenactors have gotten a little older. And when I say a little older, I mean probably a lot older. And so the walk is not quite as far, but it's a really engaging festivity to partake of. So if you're in Perth Amboy on the 4th of July, come on down to the city circle and help ring the bell as a patriot. That also points up to me the kind of street traffic and impact that for local communities, investments like this will make. It'll bring people to those communities. It'll help their economies. It'll help celebrate those communities like Morristown and Perth Amboy and Red Bank and all of the other communities that have some of these historic sites there. So today is truly the beginning of something truly special and something I think which will enrich the history of our state and the sense that we'll have a pride that will come along with recognizing our incredibly important role in the American Revolution. So thank you to the governor for his vision in making this happen. Thank you to my colleagues in the Assembly and in the Senate who were supportive of this notion. And let's all celebrate New Jersey. Let's start now. Let's get a head start on 2026. Thanks, everybody, for being here today.
I just said to... Let's hear it as promised. I said we'll give her 2 applauses for great Congresswoman Bonnie Watson Coleman. No, I'll give you. I'm gonna let you catch your breath. But great to be with you, as always. And Craig, I love that. I just said to him, I got to try that out on one of these 4th of July and see that reenactment. Would love to do that. I think what we'll do is, Carrie, we're going to go to you, if that's okay, and then the Congresswoman will bat cleanup for us. Please help me welcome. We couldn't be here without her and her compatriots, Carrie Fellows, who's the Executive Director of Crossroads of the American Revolution Association. Great job. Thank you for having us.
Thank you, Governor, and thank you, everybody. A little background. Crossroads of the American Revolution National Heritage Area is New Jersey's only heritage area, the only national heritage area among the 55 in the nation that's dedicated to telling the story of the American Revolution. Crossroads, together with the New Jersey Historical Commission, forms Revolution NJ, which is the state-designated public-private partnership tasked with planning New Jersey's commemoration of the 250th anniversary of the American Revolution, or the semi-quincentennial, which I also learned how to say early on. We're so grateful for funding, which will enable major visitor readiness projects to occur at state-owned RevWar sites. And we want to acknowledge all of those who made their voices heard in the past year, from friends of these historic sites to other key stakeholders and residents from across New Jersey who spoke up for the importance of our state's history. Having RevWar sites that are ready and able to receive visitors from across the state, the country, and across the world is an essential ingredient for New Jersey taking its rightful place as a cornerstone of our nation's founding story. Based on the research conducted in the planning phase of the Revolution NJ effort, Crossroads and state officials identified key needs at 10 state-owned sites that have the potential, in conjunction with a handful of county and privately owned sites, to serve as the visitor-ready core for RevWar heritage tourism. We developed an investment plan for those 10 sites that included 3 primary components: address historic restoration needs, upgrade facilities to meet industry standards for visitor readiness, and the third was to develop a plan for sustainable staffing and visitor readiness into the future. This historic investment by the state to get us ready for 2026 is only the first step in raising New Jersey's profile as the acknowledged crossroads of the American Revolution. There's still a great deal of work to do, including for Crossroads, to fully realize the potential impact. This includes securing private donors to participate in building on this crucial investment, to bring vital economic activity to our local communities by supporting and sustaining heritage tourism in New Jersey for the 250th anniversary and beyond. Thank you all for your support and your partnership.
Well done. Really, really well done, Carrie, and you make a very fair point. Thanks to Bonnie and her colleagues and Craig and Anthony and the legislature, we've been able to wall off $25 million of American Rescue Plan money. But that's not, I mentioned this earlier, that's not the last of the monies that we're going to spend on this, and those monies can come from a variety of sources, including philanthropic, private, corporate, others. The other observation, Brian, if my math is right, am I right in saying of the 10, 4 of them are in Mercer County? Here? So Titusville, you got 2 in Trenton and Princeton, right? So that's pretty cool. So Mercer's another reason I love this county. But thank you. With that, batting cleanup, we wouldn't have this money without her and her colleagues. She's an extraordinary representative of our state. She fights like heck for us in Washington, and I don't know where we would be without her. Never mind for the monies we're talking about today, but equity, justice, New Jersey getting its rightful place in so many respects. Please help me welcome Congresswoman Bonnie Watson-Coleman.
Good morning. I apologize for being late. I only want to give you the excuses, but I am delighted to be here. I am delighted to be with my governor all the time, and my speaker, my county executive, my legislator, and our Secretary of State, and everyone else that is here. and my friend Sally Lane that I just looked up and saw. You know, when people think about the American Revolution, they often think about Boston and Philadelphia. But New Jersey was as, and if not more, important to the outcome of the war, and too often our contributions have been overlooked. The second reading of the Declaration of Independence in New Brunswick, the Battle of Monmouth, and the crossing of the Delaware, just a few steps from here, were pivotal in turning the tide of the war. New Jersey was indeed the crossroads of the American Revolution. And I'm proud of my work on the Semi-Quincentennial Commission. Whew. I happen to be the only New Jerseyan there, and I'm fighting like you know what to make sure that New Jersey gets accountability before the comma. You know what that means, Governor Ian. But I'm delighted to be there to ensure that New Jersey's contributions are recognized during the upcoming celebrations and that New Jersey receives its funding that it needs to tell its story. And this story includes the contributions of Black and Indigenous soldiers during the war. It was an integrated regiment who ferried Washington across the Delaware on Christmas 1776. By the end of the war, a full quarter of the American soldiers marching to Yorktown were Black or Indigenous. Their contributions must also be remembered as we celebrate the 250 year of the greatest nation in the world. I introduced the Liberty Memorial Preservation Act to recognize these contributions with a memorial in the nation's capital. The American Rescue Plan, which I did help as a member of New Jersey's representative on appropriations, help to shape funds and the use of funds that are being applied here today. The governor, the legislature, rightfully took some of that money and earmarked it for this purpose. I'm happy to have this governor as a partner in all the work that we do, and the countless local historians and advocates, including those from the barracks and from the Princeton battlefield and the crossroads of the American Revolution, who've been working to ensure that New Jersey sites are going to be ready to receive and educate tourists who come to celebrate. This is a very wonderful day. New Jersey, I tell people down in D.C., we're small, but doggone it, we are powerful. And we are definitely powerful in this moment as we get ready to celebrate our 250th. So keep reaching out to my office and telling us what you need us to be able to concentrate on, because we, as part of the commission, have to make sure that all of this country is celebrated for the work that it has done to make us so great today. Thank you, and God bless you all.
Bonnie, you said many things that were striking, but the diversity of the men in battle takes your breath away. That story has not been properly told, so let's all collectively commit to making sure we tell that story. As they say in Hollywood, it's a wrap. So I want to say to the Congresswoman, Speaker, Assemblyman, County Executive, Mayor, Commissioner, Secretary, Executive Director, to everybody here, thank you so, so much for not just being here today, but for making today happen. This is a little bit, I think it's akin to a virtual shovel in the ground. Most of the work is still ahead of us, so we're patting ourselves on the back for getting the money and allocating it appropriately, I think. Now let's get this properly spent and have a great, great celebration 4 years from now. Thank you all.